$187 on food delivery in one single week. And I didn't even notice it until day 23 when I went back through the receipts and just stared at the screen for a minute. Here's what happened. I tracked every single dollar I spent for 30 days straight. No exceptions. No, I'll round it to the nearest 5. No catching up at the end of the week from memory. Every purchase logged the same day it happened. I want to be upfront about something. This isn't a polished case study. This is a genuinely uncomfortable look at my own spending, and some of what I found made me feel a little stupid. That's exactly why I'm showing you all of it. Today I'm walking you through all 4 weeks where it stayed on track, the exact moment it fell apart, and what I actually changed once I saw the real numbers. If you've ever assumed you basically know where your money goes, this might change your mind. Let's get into it. Here's the thing I believe going into this. I'm not bad with money. I've got a steady 9 to 5, decent salary. I pay my bills on time. I don't have credit card debt I'm hiding from anyone. If you'd asked me before this experiment, do you know where your paycheck goes every month? I would have said yes, pretty confidently. Rent, groceries, a few subscriptions, some money into savings, and whatever's left is just normal life spending. That confidence is exactly what made this experiment interesting. Because I think most people carry around the same quiet certainty, not arrogance, just a general sense that you'd notice if something was actually wrong. So here's what I committed to. Every single purchase tracked the day it happened. Not at the end of the week from memory, same day, every time, no exceptions, everything categorized, no lumping things into a vague, miscellaneous bucket to avoid looking at it closely. Quick question for you before I get into the weeks. Do you actually know what you spent last Tuesday? Not roughly, exactly to the dollar. If you can't answer that immediately, you're probably more like me going into this than you think. I genuinely expected this experiment to confirm what I already believed. It didn't. Week 1 felt like a victory lap, if I'm honest. The numbers came in close to what I expected. Groceries, gas, rent prorated for the week, a couple of small purchases here and there. Slightly over on convenience food, 1 or 2 days where I grabbed something instead of cooking, but nothing that felt alarming. If anything, I remember feeling a little smug about it. See, I told you I had this handled. But here's the thing I didn't think much of at the time. On day 4, I signed up for a $9 a month app, some productivity tool I thought I'd actually use. And on day 6, I ordered delivery instead of cooking, telling myself just this once, it's been a long week. Neither of those felt like decisions worth tracking closely. They felt like background noise, a $9 subscription, 1 delivery order, in the moment, completely forgettable. I want you to remember those 2 things, because they come back later. Week 1, on paper, looked clean. Underneath it, 2 small threads had already started. Week 2 is where the gap between what I expected and what actually happened started to show up. A friend's birthday dinner landed midweek, not something I'd planned for, but also not something I was going to skip. Then a concert ticket I'd been half considering for weeks finally got purchased because tickets were about to sell out and the FOMO won. Individually, neither of these felt reckless. A dinner with a friend, a concert I genuinely enjoy. The kind of spending that feels like this is just life, not this is a budget problem. But when I added up the actual total for the week, it was meaningfully higher than week 1, more than I expected, and more than felt explainable by just a dinner and a concert ticket. There was a real gap between the story I was telling myself about the week and the number sitting in front of me. Here's the pattern I started noticing in myself. Every single purchase came with its own private justification. It's fine, it's just this one thing. I don't do this often. I deserve a night out. Each sentence felt completely true in the moment. None of them accounted for the fact that I was saying some version of that sentence multiple times a week now. Week 3 is the one I actually didn't want to put in this video. But it's the most honest part of the whole experiment, so here it is. I had a genuinely rough stretch at work that week. Long days, a stressful deadline, one of those weeks where you get home and just don't have anything left. And almost without deciding to, my spending shifted completely. Delivery food, 4 nights out of 7. A same-day online order for something I didn't need but wanted in the moment. An extra coffee run most mornings, on top of the one I already budget for. None of it felt like a financial decision while it was happening. It felt like relief, like the one part of a hard day I could actually control. When I tallied the week, the number was almost double what week 1 came in at. Same person, same salary, same general life. Just one rough stretch and the spending pattern completely changed shape. This is the moment the experiment stopped being about tracking receipts and started being about noticing a pattern in myself I genuinely hadn't seen before. The spending wasn't random, it was directly tied to how depleted I felt that week, and I hadn't clocked that connection until I saw it laid out in black and white. By week 4, I could see the pattern clearly, and I tried to pull it back. I cooked more, I skipped the extra coffee runs. I said no to a couple of optional purchases I would have made without thinking a week earlier, and it worked. To a point, week 4 came in noticeably lower than week 3. But here's the uncomfortable math. One good week of course correcting doesn't undo 2 weeks of drift. The damage from weeks 2 and 3 had already set the month's trajectory, and no amount of discipline in the final week was going to fully reverse that. Add up all 4 weeks, and the final 30-day total landed well above what I would have guessed going in, driven almost entirely by weeks 2 and 3, with that $187 delivery total sitting inside week 3 as the single most expensive category of the entire month. I want to sit with that for a second because it's the real headline of this whole experiment. I didn't have one big reckless purchase. I had a slow drift across 2 weeks that I didn't notice until the spreadsheet forced me to. Let's pull back from the week-by-week story and look at the actual math, because the numbers tell you something the narrative alone doesn't. Total spent across the month versus what I would have estimated going in. The real number came in meaningfully higher, not because of one dramatic mistake, but because of an accumulation of small decisions that never individually felt like overspending. Breaking the gap down into categories, convenience and delivery food was the single largest leak, driven almost entirely by week 3. A couple of impulse purchases, the concert ticket, the same-day online order, added up faster than expected once they were sitting next to each other instead of scattered across different weeks. The $9 app subscription from day 4 quietly renewed, and I'd genuinely forgotten it existed by the time I reviewed the data, and the stress-driven spending in week 3 on its own was close to double any other week in the month. Here's the sentence that sums up the entire experiment for me. I would have called almost every single one of these purchases responsible spending in the moment before this month. None of them felt like a budgeting failure while they were happening. They only looked like a pattern once they were all lined up together. Now let's do something with this number, because a single bad month is one thing, but patterns repeat. If this exact monthly overspend repeated every month for a year, that's a real, specific dollar amount disappearing annually, not on anything memorable, just absorbed into convenience and stress in the moment. And if that same money had instead gone into an investment account at a standard 7% average annual return, the gap over 10 years isn't small. It's the difference between money that quietly vanished and money that would have quietly compounded. Same dollars. Completely different outcome depending on where they went. Seeing the real data is one thing. Here's what I actually did differently once I saw it. First, I canceled the $9 app subscription the same day I found it sitting there forgotten. Small win, but it mattered. That's a leak that would have run quietly forever if I hadn't looked. Second, I set an actual rule for delivery food instead of a vague intention. Not I'll cook more, a specific cap decided in advance before a stressful week shows up and makes the decision for me. Deciding the rule on a calm day is completely different from deciding it in the middle of a hard one. Third, and this is the change that actually matters most, I automated my savings transfer for the same day my paycheck lands. Here's why that's the real fix, not just a nice habit. If saving happens automatically before I see the money, then the money available to overspend from is whatever's left over, not the full paycheck. The leftover amount becomes the actual spending limit instead of relying on willpower to stop before hitting an arbitrary number in my head. If you want to try a version of this yourself, here's the lower effort version. Don't commit to 30 days. Track every single dollar for just 7 days. Same rules, same day, every purchase, no rounding, no skipping. 7 days is enough to start seeing your own version of week 3. It's a small enough commitment that you'll actually follow through on it, which matters more than tracking for a longer period and quitting on day 9. One quick note, depending on where you're at financially, this exercise hits differently depending on income. If you're on a tighter salary, a $187 week is the difference between hitting your savings goal and not. If you've got more room, the same leak might not threaten anything short term, but it's still quietly costing you the compounding we just talked about. Either way, the value of actually seeing the number doesn't change. Here's the part of this experiment that actually surprised me the most, and it's not a number. Almost every single purchase in weeks 2 and 3 wasn't really about the thing I was buying. The dinner, the concert ticket, the delivery food, the late night online order, none of those were really about hunger or entertainment or needing an item. They were about wanting to feel something, relief, reward, a small win at the end of a day that didn't give me one. I didn't go into this expecting to learn anything about my emotions. I expected to learn about my spending categories. What I actually learned is that the spending categories were just the visible symptom of something underneath them, and once I could see that connection, the purchases themselves started to look different to me. Less like decisions about money, and more like decisions about how I was trying to feel. That's not something a budgeting app would have shown me. It only showed up because I tracked everything closely enough, for long enough, to see the pattern connect to the actual weeks of my life. Here's the recap. One number I didn't expect, $187 in a single week on delivery alone. 1 week where it actually fell apart. Week 3, almost double any other week, driven by a stretch of real stress at work. And one change that mattered more than any other, automating the savings transfer so the leftover money, not the full paycheck, became the real spending limit. But if there's one reframe I want you to walk away with, it's this. This was never really about discipline. It was about visibility. I didn't suddenly become worse with money in week 3. I just couldn't see the pattern until I forced myself to track it closely enough to notice. You can't fix what you can't see. And most people, myself included, until last month, genuinely can't see it. If you tracked your own spending for even 7 days, what do you think your biggest leak would be? Drop your honest guess in the comments. And if you actually go do it, come back in a week and tell me if you were right. If this was useful, hit like. It genuinely helps more 9-to-5 workers find this channel. Subscribe to 9-to-5 Chimp for more honest, practical money content built for people on regular salaries trying to actually get ahead. Protect your cash flow. Track what you can't see. I'll see you in the next one.